Hello everyone, welcome back. So far we have developed the index page and the my account page where we can create a new account, login, and retrieve password. Okay, so this is just to give you a overview and understanding on how to develop like front end and back end, how to go back and forth. But in order to design a application like a medium level or even large scale application, you have to do the overall architecture design in advance so that you don't run into some confusion or complications in the later stage. Okay. As for this, as a e-commerce store website which focus on selling books, we're gonna define some entity diagram. If you are familiar with the object-oriented design, that's a important step. You can call it a UML diagram or entity diagram. Basically, it's used to identify whatever the models, entity models within the business scope, and understand the relationship between each entity, and potentially to know how the flow will go. So by the time you finish those analysis, you will have a better understanding on the system and how you should approach to design and implement the whole system. Okay. So first of all, let's try to draw some diagram from scratch. I'm gonna just use a tool called diagram. This is just an online drawing tool. So I'm gonna create a new diagram, software design, and choose this blue one. So it has some of the default implementations here. This could be a good example for your UML diagram. If you haven't done anything like that, if you're completely new on this whole object-oriented design concept or UML concept, I would suggest to go ahead and take a look at. You don't have to know everything. Just take a little bit touch on the water to grab some general sense, and then come back and follow the course. Okay. So I'm going to select all of entity objects and delete them. And here I'm going to add some more shapes. Specifically, I'm looking for entity relationship. So apply. Now that we have the entity relationship, I'm going to start to draw some diagrams. The first one, of course, will be user, right? That's the one we have already added. And the user, what else do we have? Try to think. So I would suggest you to think with me, and if you can think in advance and try to draw yourself first, that'll be awesome. You don't have to just always follow me. You can always just run ahead of me and then come back, see how it goes. My diagram may not be perfect, or your diagram could be even better than mine. You never know. So we have a user, right? Since we are dealing with a bookstore, definitely we will have a book entity, right? So we have user and we have book. And how do we approach that? For user part, we can extend that. So just give you a concept that you won't always start from the top and keep going down. Like previously, we identify the most important objects, and then we keep going sideways, and then sideways goes into more detailed objects. It's pretty much like a tree hierarchy or pyramid hierarchy. Okay. So a user can have different entities like his payment information. I'll just say credit card. Okay, this is attached to the user. And also we can have a default shipping address. I'll just say user shipping. And we can have what else? User billing address, right? So those are binding to the user. And we have book. So what we do with book, and we're gonna need to add book to shopping cart, right? So we're gonna need shopping cart. And how do we maintain the logic behind adding book to shopping cart? Should we just directly maintain a relationship between book and shopping cart? Or something in between? We don't know yet. Let's just try to find more entity. So shopping cart can become an order, right? You might disagree with me. That's totally fine. I'm just showing you what I understand on this e-commerce business, okay? And we have shipping address associated with the order. Billing address associated with the order. And of course, we need payment. Okay. So let's try to make it constant. This one, we're gonna just call it the user payment. And what else entity do we have? I don't know. We may just need to add them later, but I think I've identified the majority of them. So let's try to identify the relationship between the two. So what's the relationship between user payment and user? So one user can have multiple credit cards, right? So one credit card can belong to multiple users? No, that's not true. One credit card can only belong to one user. So the relationship would be one to many. So let's mark that. One to many. Where's one to many? Okay, it's right here. So here, there's a cocktail-like thing is the many side. And let's change the, okay, looks better. And how about user shipping address? Should be one user to many user shipping, right? And how about user billing? The same, one to many. So let's just mark that. And this one as well. And then how about shopping cart? Can a shopping cart belong to different users? Probably not. One shopping cart should be corresponding to one user, right? And can a user have different shopping carts? Probably not, right? So the relationship should be one to one. Okay. And in order to implement this one-to-one relationship, we can simply initialize this shopping cart and bind it to the user by the moment we create the user the first time. Okay. And after that, let's see, can we just directly hook the book with the shopping cart? That is to say, within the shopping cart, we have the reference to books, and we record how many numbers of each book. That's kind of like difficult to track there, right? At least for each book, we have different quantities. How do you maintain that in one shopping cart? That's gonna be difficult. So we might need something in between to ease this lumped relationship. So we're gonna add a cart item in this case. And the relationship between book and cart item is that can a book be different cart items? So imagine you have a user and you have multiple users, right? Like two users. One user has a shopping cart and he has added one book to the cart item. And this cart item is binding to shopping cart. Okay, that looks good. And then another user comes and try to bind the same book and add it to the cart item. So in this case, should we separate the two? Of course we should, otherwise it will cause confusion, right? So in this case, the relationship between book and card item from book to card item is one to many. However, the other direction, can we have one card item that correspond to multiple books? Doesn't make sense, right? You only can have one card item deal with one book. So the relationship should be one to many. Let's add that. The many side and the one side. Okay. And how about shopping cart and cart item? You can pretty much just tell me, right? Can a shopping cart have multiple cart items? Of course it can. Can one cart item belong to different shopping cart? This could be a little tricky. Think about it. So when we talk about one user, this user add book to this cart item, right? And this cart item can belong to this shopping cart. What if there's another user come add the same book to cart item? It would be a different cart item than the previous one at the beginning. So in this case, one cart item wouldn't be possible to belong to different shopping cart. And that means the relationship between shopping cart and cart item is one to many. Okay, so this is a little tricky. It's kind of easy to make mistake. It takes several, going forth and back, to figure out the real relationship. And also this relationship depends on how you actually look. How do you, actually look at the design? How do you want to approach the whole system? And then the next thing is a little tricky as well. So should we just directly connect the shopping cart to order? Of course we can. Shopping cart can generate order, right? One shopping cart can generate multiple orders. Generate one order and generate another order. But the problem is now it's become sophisticated. After we convert a shopping cart to order, so this order is referenced back to shopping cart, right? And what if we need to start to order books again? Think about this. After we convert the shopping cart to order, we need to clear the cart, right? Because those shopping cart's items has been checked out. The cart should become empty. So if we bind the order to shopping cart, we cannot retrieve those items directly, as the items in the shopping cart has been cleared. What if we want to trace back to see the order history? Okay, so in this case, what we can do is instead of using the shopping cart bind with order, we can have the order connect to the cart item. All right. And of course, we can have a relationship between shopping cart and order as well. But because we have already connected from order to cart, we can trace from the shopping cart. Trace to the shopping cart from the cart item, okay? But I don't, prevent you from doing what you think is reasonable. But for now, let's try to figure out a relationship between order and cart item. So can one cart item belongs to multiple order? It's possible, but I wouldn't suggest to do that from my view. That's because once you have the cart item checked out, right, it wouldn't be a valid cart item anymore, even though we will keep the record, but it's not going to be a cart item anymore. So a better way is just to have another entity, say archive. So whatever order or cart item, we just put in archive. Okay, so that's going to be traced back to order, and there's a relation between the archive and cart item. But I haven't done that in this project. What I did is directly find a relationship between order and cart item. So I would say one cart item can belong to only one order, but can one order has multiple cart item? Of course you can, right? So the relationship would be one too many. Again. Let's change that. Okay. And after that, we have the order, shipping address, billing address, payment. That should be pretty straightforward, right? Everything should be one-to-one. One order has one shipping address, and one order has one billing address, and one order has one payment. Okay, so that's pretty much like the design of the project. And if you want to add more stuff, I would encourage you to do that. If you want to add more functionality, you can definitely do that. But for now, let's just finish this first, and later if you want to enhance the project, you can just try to do it yourself. All right, so let's just save it and change the title to ERD for bookstore. Okay, we're gonna come back and reference it because we haven't added any field to it yet. But that's pretty much for this lesson. We'll continue the next one. See you guys.